Taking in the sights, sounds and smells of a safari, escaping a yeti on Mount Everest, or soaring on the back of a native banshee. How well do you know the attractions at Disney's Animal Kingdom? Find out all about them today here on Walt Disney World Adults Only. Welcome Royal Highnesses, I'm Dan and you're watching Walt Disney World Adults Only. Today I'm going to be joined by Eric and we're going to be talking about the attractions at Disney's Animal Kingdom theme park. There is literally so much to see and do at this park. As you can probably hear, I've got a little bit of an issue with my voice. I sound a little bit like a smurf. This is due to a cold I've had for the last few days. Anyway, we're going to be telling you all about the shows, rides and attractions that are available to you at Disney's Animal Kingdom. Are you ready, Eric?
I'm ready, Dan. Animal Kingdom has some of Walt Disney World's best attractions, including fan favorite Avatar Flight of Passage, my personal favorite Expedition Everest, and of course you can't forget about Kilimanjaro Safaris, where no two rides are ever the same. What's your favorite attraction in Animal Kingdom? Let us know in the comments, we'd love to hear from you.
Disney's Animal Kingdom is a zoological theme park and is actually the largest theme park in the whole world. It opened in April 1998 on Earth Day and is now the second most visited of the 4 Walt Disney World theme parks. Animal Kingdom is split into 7 areas: Oasis, Discovery Island, Africa, Asia, Rafiki's Planet Watch, Dinoland USA and Pandora, the World of Avatar. As well as being a theme park, Animal Kingdom is heavily involved with both research and conservation. It is also home to over 2,000 animals, representing over 300 species. So Animal Kingdom is so much more than a theme park, but today we are going to explore the attractions that they have here. Now, as you enter Animal Kingdom, there is one thing that immediately stands out to you. Our first attraction for today, the Tree of Life. Can you tell us all about it, Eric?
Thanks, Dan. There's no doubt the Tree of Life is the true icon of Disney's Animal Kingdom. The Tree of Life is a model of a baobab tree and stands at 145 feet tall. And it opened with the park on April 22nd, 1998. The tree was actually sculpted around a retrofitted oil rig. It has over 8,000 branches and over 100,000 artificial leaves and has over 300 animals carved into its trunk and branches. The tree is meant to be a symbol of the beauty, diversity, and interconnected nature of all of Earth's creatures. Every time I stop and look at the Tree of Life, I always see a new animal that I've never noticed before. There are several trails that are around the base of the Tree of Life, and these trails are often less crowded than other areas of the park, and not as many guests know about them. You'll find animals hanging out on these trails like lemurs, flamingos, kangaroos, and tortoises. There are also quiet views of trees, pools, gardens, and meadows, which can offer tranquil spots for you to relax or take a break if you need to get away from some of those crowds. When the sun goes down in Animal Kingdom, the Tree of Life awakens. The tree lights up with projections and animations throughout the evening. It brings a whole different vibe to the Tree of Life after dark. Animal Kingdom can't have a fireworks show due to the animals in the park. They don't want to scare or disturb them. So this is a really nice way to use the iconic Tree of Life at Animal Kingdom to create that kiss goodnight that Disney parks are known for. Did you know there's also an attraction inside the Tree of Life? It's Tough to Be a Bug is a 3D movie attraction located in a theater inside the tree. The attraction features Flick and Hopper and all of their friends from the Disney Pixar movie A Bug's Life. It's been a few years since I've been to this attraction. Have you ever done It's Tough to Be a Bug, Dan?
I have, Eric, but it was around 2007 and I've got no idea why I haven't done it since. It was really, really well done. Another thing to add to my list for my next trip. I think we should now head to Pandora, World of Avatar, and to my favourite attraction in the whole of Walt Disney World, Flight of Passage. Now this one is next level. It actually opened on my birthday in 2017 and I got to ride it for the first time on the same year. I found this to be breathtaking in every single possible way. It was so beautifully immersive and it very quickly became my favourite attraction. So Pandora is the fictional world from the James Cameron movie Avatar. If you haven't seen it, then you will still enjoy this ride. Flight of Passage is a 3D flying simulator and you are effectively flying on the back of a native mountain banshee. and you get to soar across the landscape of Pandora. It lasts 5 minutes, which is quite a long ride compared to many others, so you really do feel it's been worth the wait. Prepare to be amazed. So Eric, are you any good at riding a mountain banshee?
I've actually gotten really good at riding on the back of a banshee. I think one of my favorite details of Flight of Passage is that you can feel the banshee breathing against your legs while you're sitting on the ride. It's little details like this that bring the magic and make you feel like you're really immersed in the experience of the attraction. For me, Flight of Passage is worth waiting in a line of any length, and it's one of the best theme park attractions I've ever had the pleasure of experiencing. Now let's talk about Pandora's other attraction, Navi River Journey. This is a slow-moving, dark ride that opened in May 2017. On this attraction, you board a boat and float down the Casavan River in the land of Pandora. As you float down the river, you'll pass by native Pandoran animals and bioluminescent flora. Don't forget to look up and catch the frogs jumping on the lily pads above you. At the end of the ride is a very intricate audio animatronic, the Shaman of Songs. She sings a Navi song to you and dances as you float by to conclude your journey down the river. It's a really cool ride and we like to get on it as long as the line isn't too long. If it has a long wait, we usually skip it and try to come back later in the day. Dan, I know you love Flight of Passage, but what about Navi River Journey?
It's fine, you know, but the line is always so long for what seems to be quite a short ride. I do really quite like it, it's visually quite stunning, but it's not something that I would queue up for. Should we go to Africa now, Eric, and talk about Kilimanjaro Safaris? After all, this really is the headline attraction for this theme park.
You know that's very true, Dan. When most people think of Animal Kingdom Park, I think the first thing that comes to mind is Kilimanjaro Safaris. The attraction is a simulated open-sided safari ride through the savanna of East Africa through the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. It opened with the park in April 1998. The attraction spans over 445,000 square meters, or about 110 acres. It is the largest attraction in all of the Disney parks in regards to area covered. In fact, the entire Magic Kingdom park could fit entirely within the area taken up by Kilimanjaro Safaris, as the Magic Kingdom is only 107 acres in total area. The ride consists of large, custom-built safari trucks which run on liquid propane fuel. Each truck can hold up to 32 riders per vehicle. The safari rides last about 22 minutes long, but if you've ever been on Kilimanjaro Safaris, you know that sometimes the animals have a different plan, and sometimes they like to rest in the road or cross in front of the vehicles. So sometimes you may be a little bit delayed on your journey through the wildlife reserve, and your ride may be a little bit longer than the 22-minute expected time. That's why they say that no two rides on Kilimanjaro Safaris are ever the same. On your safari, you will travel through many areas where different types of animals are roaming freely out in the wildlife preserve. You will travel through the Ituri Forest, the wetlands of the Safi River Valley, and the open bush country of the Serengeti Savannah. Some of the African animals you may spot on your safari are giraffes, elephants, okapi, flamingos, lions, wildebeests, zebras, rhinos, hippos, warthogs, crocodiles, and hyenas, just to name a few. As you travel through the Harambe Wildlife Reserve, your driver will be on a speaker pointing out animals as they come into view, identifying them and giving interesting facts about them. The animals all appear to be allowed to roam free in the wild, however they are actually separated by barriers that are mostly unseen to guests on the safari tour. Animals that may not get along together are separated from others. There are also backstage areas where animals stay at night after the attraction closes for the day. These are also not visible to the onstage areas of the safari. I do have to say that I love Kilimanjaro Safaris. I would recommend it to everyone, whether it's your first visit to Animal Kingdom or your 100th. It's never the same ride twice. We usually try to do the safari first thing in the morning as the animals are just waking up and they're hungry and they've either eaten or about to eat. So they seem to be more active first thing in the morning. Well, this attraction really is awesome, huh, Dan? Is it a must-do for you?
It absolutely is, Eric, and I would totally queue for this. Previously, I've always fast passed it, and now with Genie Plus, this will be my first attraction that I choose on my Animal Kingdom day. What I love is that it's different every single time, and I love riding it when it's dark too. My advice would be to rope drop this and go first thing in the morning and then go again when it gets dark. The animals are more active first thing in the morning and again in the evening as well. Whilst we're in Africa, I think we should also take a look at Gorilla Falls Exploration Trail. This is literally right as you come off of Kilimanjaro Safari. This is fascinating. It is a walkway adjacent to the safari, which opened in 1998. It was originally named Pangani Forest Exploration Trail, and from this walkway, guests can see African animals. The main animal species here is the western lowland gorilla, but you can also see black and white Columbus monkeys, meerkats, tortoise, zebra, and in the aviary, many types of birds too. I could spend hours watching the gorillas here. They are always so active. And I even got to see baby Grace shortly after she was born too. This really is somewhere that you should spend some time. Do you spend much time here, Eric?
I don't spend too much time on this trail, actually. On our next visit to Animal Kingdom, we will probably go through to see the gorillas, meerkats, and other animals, since it has been quite a while since we've walked through Gorilla Falls. Something else in Africa that I really do love is the Festival of the Lion King show. Currently it is showing as a slightly modified version called Celebration of the Festival of the Lion King. The show originally opened with the Animal Kingdom Park in April 1998. However, the original theater that the show took place in was in the Camp Mini Mickey section of the park, which was closed and rebuilt into what is now Pandora. The show moved into its current location in the Harambe Theater in Africa in June 2014. The show is set up in a theater in the round style setup and can accommodate up to 1,500 guests. There are 4 seating areas in the theater, which allow everyone to be able to see the show fairly well no matter what part of the theater you're in. There are usually between 7 to 10 performances scheduled each day, and each show is roughly around 30 minutes long. This show is a must-do on our Animal Kingdom visits. It is so good. It's such a good show, and by the end I usually have tears in my eyes because it's just so powerful and moving, and I get really emotional really easily. So, Dan, surely you must like this show as well.
Yep, I really do. I have to say this is a really great show and the talent is insane. I was so happy when it reopened earlier this year. Lastly, for Africa, we have the Wildlife Express train, which goes to Rafiki's Planet Watch. Now, I did this way back in 2001, and in all honesty, I do not remember too much about it. I guess I really should hop on that train on my next trip, but it's not enticing me, not really. But I'll tell you all about it and you can make up your own mind. So there is a station in Africa, the Harambe station, and the Wildlife Express train takes guests to Conservation Station at Rafiki's Planet Watch. The route is around 1.2 miles for a round trip, and during the ride you can see some of the Animal Kingdom backlot area. It is about 7 minutes to get to Conservation Station and only 5 minutes to get back. Each train carries up to 250 guests. Once you arrive at Conservation Station, there is quite a lot to do apparently. You get an opportunity to learn about the conservation efforts supported by the Walt Disney Company, as well as getting a glimpse into the Animal Kingdom care facilities for the animals. You even get to see a veterinary examination room, which has got a 2-way communication system so that guests can ask questions. And there is an animation experience here too, where guests are taught how to draw Disney characters. I would be terrible at this. There is also the affection section, which in essence is a petting zoo, with goats, sheep, cattle, pigs, donkeys, and alpacas. And lastly, there is Habitat Habit, where guests can see cotton-topped taramins and learn about the efforts to protect these endangered primates. All in all, there seems to be quite a lot to do here. Perhaps I should check it out on my next trip. Eric, what are your experiences here? Have you been to Rafiki's Planet Watch?
I've actually been over to Rafiki's Planet Watch a few times, and once we actually got to see a bird getting a dental procedure done through the veterinary observation window there. I'm really not much of an artist, so we usually skip the animation experience, but the different insects and reptiles that they have on display in that building are pretty cool, and we usually check them out if we make it over to this part of the park. Moving on now to Asia, the location of one of my favorite rides in all of the Disney World parks, Expedition Everest, Legend of the Forbidden Mountain. This is a roller coaster where you will ride in a speeding train through the Himalayan mountains trying to escape a yeti that is chasing after your train. More on that yeti in a bit. The ride officially opened on April 7th, 2006. At 199.5 feet tall, Expedition Everest Mountain is officially the tallest attraction at Walt Disney World, beating out the Tower of Terror by just 6 inches. The structure itself is tall, however, the biggest drop on this coaster is only 80 feet, and the top speed is only 50 miles per hour or around 80 kilometers per hour. The ride is just under 3 minutes long. Each train holds 34 riders, and there can be a maximum of 5 trains in operation at one time if needed. After boarding your train and departing on your expedition to Mount Everest, your train comes to a stop as the track in front of you seems to have been ripped to shreds by some type of creature. After your stop for a few seconds, your train begins to plummet backwards into the mountain before you stop and eventually move back forward again past the Yeti, trying to get away from him to safety. Now let's talk about that Yeti. When the ride first opened, there was a large 25-foot animatronic Yeti that used to move towards the riders as the train went past him. A few months after the ride opened though, the Yeti became inoperable. There are structural issues with the animatronic that would need to be repaired in order for it to become operational again. But Disney has stated that in order to fix the Yeti, they would literally have to dismantle the entire Expedition Everest ride, mountain, and rebuild the entire thing. The closure would be long and costly for Disney. The fix for years has been a strobe light that flashes on the Yeti as the train passes to give it the appearance that the Yeti is actually moving towards the train car. He's been given the nickname Disco Yeti through the years due to the strobe lighting effect. As I mentioned, this is one of my favorite rides in all of the Disney World parks. I really love roller coasters, and this one is just so much fun. Hopefully someday Disco Yeti can retire and we'll get the original animatronic Yeti back in working order. I know you're one for coasters, Dan, so I have no doubt that you love it. Can you tell us about Kali River Rapids though?
You're right, Eric. I adore Everest. It's a must-do. Every trip, multiple times, no messing. But Kali River Rapids, yes, I do like this ride, but it always feels to be too short and you don't get very wet. I always come off a little bit disappointed. In actual fact, it isn't really very short, but there are definitely better rides of this type in Orlando. So, Kali River Rapids, as the name suggests, is a rapids ride. Opening in 1999, this is a 5-minute ride which operates 20 boats, each with a capacity of 12 guests. And it features a 30-foot drop too. I do quite like it, but you don't get very wet on it, and that's probably a benefit to most normal people. Have you done it, Eric?
I think I've been on it once or twice. I'm really not a fan of water rides unless I have a pair of flip-flops to change into to get on the ride, because I absolutely hate walking around in wet socks and shoes all day. One of the shows that you can check out in Asia is the Feathered Friends in Flight Bird Show. This is located in the Anandapur Theater, not far from Yak and Yeti restaurant. This is a live bird show. It lasts about 25 minutes and it has about 5 shows each day. Disney's animal trainers host the show and a number of bird species are represented. The trainers give information about the birds as they perform tricks and talents for guests, including some flying overhead through the theater. I've actually never been to this show before. Have you, Dan?
Not recently. In fact, I cannot think of the last time that I watched it. I don't generally find these types of shows to be especially interesting, and so it's not on my list to watch on my next trip either. Whilst we're also in Asia, let's take a look at the Maharajah Jungle Trek. This is another wildlife trail and opened in 1999. It's about 2,000 feet long and guests can find tigers, Komodo dragons, Malayan flying foxes and water buffalo, as well as many species of birds in the aviary too. A couple of facts for you. 3 of the water buffaloes are named Rose, Dorothy and Blanche after the characters from the Golden Girls TV show. And 2 tiger cubs, Jeddah and Anala, were born here in 2017 too. Do you like this trail, Eric?
I actually really love this trail, Dan. Of all the animal trails at Animal Kingdom, the Maharajah Jungle Trek is definitely my favorite. I love the tigers and the flying foxes the most. Next up on our tour of Animal Kingdom is Dinoland, USA. Let's stop at the theater in the wild first and talk about Finding Nemo the musical. This show officially opened on January 24th, 2007. The show is basically a condensed musical story of the movie Finding Nemo. It was a live-action show where actors used giant puppets to act out the story on stage while singing live in front of the audience. Courtney recently talked about Finding Nemo the musical in her stage shows video. We'll put a link to that in the description below. This show did not reopen with the parks after their extended closure due to the pandemic in 2020. In September 2021, Disney announced that the show would be reimagined into a new show that will debut in 2022. We're all keeping our eyes open for any news from Disney about what this show will entail in the future. Are you excited for a reimagined version of this show, Dan?
I'm not sure that excited is the word I'd use. I've only seen the former show once before and I was really quite bored. It was about 40 minutes in length, and for me that was about 20 minutes too long. So I kind of hope that it's shorter, if that makes sense. Don't get me wrong, it was brilliantly done. It was a Broadway level performance, but I'm not sure that I want a full Broadway show on a theme park day. So I'm hoping for it to be shorter, and I will definitely give it another go. Next, Dinosaur, and I actually do love Dinosaur, but I do think it desperately needs an update. It looks so tragically old, particularly the pre-show. This ride was formerly known as Countdown to Extinction. This is a dark enhanced motion vehicle ride which takes riders back in time to prehistoric times. It is populated with animatronic dinosaurs, and opening in 1998, this attraction moves at just 12 miles per hour and has a duration of just over 3 minutes. This is a really good ride, and it provides a little fright for some guests. And every time I miss the camera that takes your photo. Overall, a great ride, but it does need some updating. I'll also just quickly mention Triceratop Spin. This is basically a kids ride. Think Dumbos, flying Dumbos in Magic Kingdom, but these are flying little dinosaurs instead. I actually went on this on my last trip, but I won't be bothering again. So Eric, have we missed anything?
Oh yes, we haven't spoken about Disney Kite Tales, the brand new daytime show that's just premiered at Animal Kingdom. The show debuted in September 2021, just in time for the big Walt Disney World 50th anniversary celebration. It takes place in the Discovery River Theater, and shows happen several times a day, during the daytime. The show features three-dimensional kites and wind catchers flying through the air over the waters of the Discovery River. There are 2 different 10-minute shows. One inspired by The Lion King that features Simba, Zazu, and other characters from that movie, and one inspired by The Jungle Book, which features King Louie, Baloo, and some other characters from that movie. We have not yet been able to experience this new Kite Tail show. However, I'm very much looking forward to doing it on an upcoming visit. Well, I think we've covered everything, but please let us know in the comments if there's anything that we've missed. And also in the comments, let us know what are your top 3 favorite Animal Kingdom attractions. We would love to hear from you.
One last thing to mention as well, there is a really great tour offered here during normal times, the Wild Africa Trek. We have a video all about that tour, and I'll link that video for you in the description down below, and a link should pop up here as well. Thank you so much for your help today, Eric. I really appreciate it. I have to say that I really do love this park so much. There is so much to do, so much to see. It really is just stunning. Anyway, thank you so much for watching and for putting up with my poorly voice. I really do appreciate your support. If you like this video, please give us a big thumbs up and share it with your friends as well. If you're not already subscribed, please hit subscribe and hit that bell as well. We would really love that. We will be continuing this conversation in our adult-only Facebook group. Please join us there if you want to get involved. I will link it in the description down below.
And remember, never grow up.
That's right, Eric. Never grow up.